Hey, can you describe for me, Ryan, what you do exactly? What do you do for work? What is your company about? Anything else that you want to add? Who is
Yeah,
Ryan
so I
Payne?
mean, that's right. That's right. So yeah, no, basically I run a wealth management firm. What that means in layman's terms is, people give my firm their money to invest, typically because, they're getting to a point in their life where they want to have it professionally managed because they're thinking they want to be financially independent at some point. So the biggest conundrum we have, or the biggest issue we have, is your money over time is constantly depreciating, right? Cost of living goes up. We call that inflation, which you might have heard a lot about lately. It's getting talked about in the press a lot. But, think about it this way, and I'll just talk in US dollars, but every dollar you have today, or whatever currency you're in, is worth about 50% less every 20 years. So every $1 million you have today is worth $500,000 in 20 years. So, there's this necessary evil if you want to grow your wealth over the cost of living. And most importantly, I look at money as is really just a vehicle for freedom, right? Having money is about being able to basically make choices on your terms, not on other people's terms, and being, what we call proverbially financially independent, or we have another term we call it FU money, or I don't know how
Yeah,
PG your
I
podcast
love
is, or
that.
fuck you money.
I love that. Yes.
So you're at a situation, you've got this pile of cash over here. So that someone says, hey, basically
Do that. Do
Shakti,
this, do that.
yeah. You're not you're not the helm of other people's decisions, right? So you can say F you if you don't want to do something, because you have the independence to make decisions, to do the things the way you want to do them. So yeah, I think in a nutshell, it's really that. It's, we do financial planning, or I call financial independence planning, where it's like, hey, I want someone to professionally manage my money, work on a game plan for me. So when I hit X age, whether that's, younger, older, I can live off of what I built and be financially secure and kind of, again, live life on my terms, where I'm not beholden to bosses, other people. And, to me, it's kind of like, I always talk about the difference between being rich and wealthy, right? We have this, being rich is all about like, hey, I've got the coolest cars. Like you and I were hanging out in Miami together. Like I think you do see the coolest cars in the world of
Yeah.
Miami. And you don't know if that dude or that lady, we'll say a man or a woman, is like, he just has crazy credit card debt, really can't afford it, but is flossing the best car they possibly can, that cruising that Lamborghini, down, what is it, Lincoln or whatever it is, the main strip there. I always forget the name of it, right there in Miami. You don't know, right? But it's like that perception. Rich is kind of that perception of what it is to have money. You don't know what's behind that, or if people are just trying to keep up with, maybe you're making a lot of money, but you're just blowing it on all these cool things, quote unquote, cool things. Worth is, like I say, being wealthy is just simply like, hey, living life on your terms. You've got enough money over here that gives you the freedom really to make the choices on your terms, not somebody else's terms. And I think that's
Absolutely.
really powerful. And they say there's a high correlation between happiness and having control over your own destiny. So, it's not like money can buy you happiness, but having the freedom to make decisions on your terms does create a high level of happiness.
And there are levels to this, right? So there's obviously the level that where you don't have to work, and you have enough money to sustain your lifestyle or whatever. And then there are levels to this shit. That, like, what do you want to do in life? Like, so for example, I'm passionate about films. Now, if I had enough money, I could, probably go make films or produce films. And then, Elon Musk wants to go to Mars, right? And he's got $200 billion, but that's not enough because his goals are bigger than $200 billion. So there's just always the next level, and that the pursuit of that gives meaning to life, isn't it?
Yeah, because let's face it, if you're Elon Musk, it's not about money at all at that point, right? $200 billion, like there's nothing you can't buy. It's inconsequential, the wealth you have. But to your point, his pursuit of going to Mars probably has nothing to do with money, right? It has to do everything with like his passion, his interests. I hate to use the word passion, it's overused, but, and it does take more money to do that too, but that's funding something he's like exactly, obviously very enamored with, which is space, which is pretty cool. Come on, we got this rover right now on Mars. Now China's got the rover on Mars. I want to see a rover fight between our rover, China's rover, fight to the end, two just like robot wars in space. But
I have to say though, Ryan, I don't understand this madness of going to Mars, man. I mean, there is just so much to do here on Earth. I don't understand it. It's just, I mean, it's really crazy. But I guess to each his own, and people are, into a lot of different things. And yeah, it's fascinating to think. But coming back to your point, what you said, let me just break it down in even more simpler terms, what you said. So what you're saying is, and I understand this, but I'll just say it for the listeners. Some of our listeners are young or might not understand this. So what happens is when you make money, and you probably don't understand it if you don't have a lot of it, but imagine a situation if you have like something like $10 million, right? Or $20 million. And imagine that money is melting like an ice cap, right? Like it's like ice, because of inflation, the value of that money is just going down and down and down.
Yes.
So imagine it's costing you just to hold that money. You have that money, but just to hold that money, it's costing you like $100,000 a month or something, and you're losing that money. So that becomes your responsibility to protect that value, which is sitting in that monetary asset, right? Which could be cash, real estate, whatever it is, right? And this is where you come in. So rich people who have a lot of money come to you and they give you their money so that you can then do responsible, good things with it, so that it doesn't depreciate in value, but actually hopefully appreciates in value, right? Is that accurate, what I'm saying?
I mean, in the simplest terms, actually, that's a beautiful way of saying it. I love that whole ice analogy, because that's kind of like what it is. It's like you don't see your money actually. It's like kind of like death by 1,000 cuts, or something that melts slowly. You don't see it right away. It's like you go into your account and you log in, you see the cash is worth the same every day. The problem is slowly and surely over time, what's happening is everything costs more.